All right, it's time now to review headlines of today's newspapers, and we will go straight into it to this day newspaper, where the headline, the lead story says Tinubu approves more air assets to tackle insurgency. The riders orders military to intensify counter-terrorism operations, meets CGS, service chiefs. Military warns against misinformation, circulation of old footage. That story is on page 5. Then we spoke about, the meeting of the president earlier in the program, with
the service chiefs.
With service chiefs. And here he's approving more air assets to tackle insurgency, which is a good one.
Yes.
A lot of people will also ask what has happened actually to the Tucano jets, that we spent, huge amount of money on, to get during President Buhari. But hey, the president is talking security and it means business. The second cover picture is also about that, Nigeria security on their minds. But up on top of the lead story is a celebratory one, for
Chief Dele Momodu.
For Chief Dele Momodu. At Dele Momodu's lecture, Obasanjo urges collective action to end poverty. And we can see from the picture, the Oni of Ife, the celebrator himself at 65, Basharon Dele Momodu with his wife, and former President Obasanjo, who delivered a beautiful lecture there. And, Dele Momodu's friend, who's also 65, by just few days apart, the governor of Osun State. For me, this is how an accomplished professional, an accomplished journalist is celebrated. It isn't about the papers that you carry. It isn't about, the politics that you play. It is how your constituency, celebrates you. And you can see from, the lecture yesterday and from all the other activities, how people have written glowingly about the fact that this is an accomplished journalist, an accomplished professional. You may call him whatever you like. You may describe him in whatever language you choose. But we know that having done far more than 30 years in this profession, a trained gentleman, an intellectual in his own right, Chief Dele Momodu deserves not just to be celebrated, but also to be acknowledged and applauded for his contributions to journalism in Nigeria. A few other stories, citing rising debt, Moody's pushes U.S. out of top AAA rating club. That's also on page 5. And on the window, federal government secures 100 million euro concessionary funding from French Treasury to develop creative infrastructure.
That's a good one. I was listening to the ministerial briefing yesterday, and the Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musa, was saying her vision is to create those types of stadiums and, that we see internationally for your likes of Davido, Wizkid and so forth to perform locally, So I love that we are passionate about unearthing the value within the creative economy and just building more on the infrastructure around it.
Absolutely. Should we take a quick look at the Punch? I saw that you were
slightly interested with what I like about the weekend papers is that they do give us, a few stories that I wouldn't call this one particular one light, but shall I say something different?
Human interest.
Yeah. Desmond Elliott says, I'm going through midlife crisis, and he's opened up about that. I know there was a lot of conversation around him after the last award show, the Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Awards, because of his outfit choice. He wore something that looked like a ball gown, and just so much. But I love that he's in touch with himself and he's able to identify that this is a phase of life that I'm going through that most will go through or have gone through, and we wish him all the best as he navigates.
We wish him all the best.
They always say as aging is by grace anyway, so it's a sign that you're aging, and that's a blessing.
I mean, he's not doing too badly. the State House of Assembly. You know, this is his third term there. But it will be interesting to read, you know, what's on his mind, given that he's been through a lot, politically speaking. All right, any other interesting?
Well, lastly, UK immigration, crackdown jolts Nigerian youths. You know, those some of those new measures that were reeled out last week by Keir Starmer, including language proficiency and, you know, so many things outlined there. UK is really going through quite a revolution, if I might say, and for some reason the emphasis is on immigration. I'm not sure if resolving immigration issues will solve their economic problems, but so it's not taking a good crack at it.
It's not only Trump, you know, that is, you know, having that hardline stance. You know, even in the UK, including our own sister, you know, Kemi Badenoch, who is saying, no, you need to do more. You need to do more. You know, deal with immigration. Very lastly, Saturday Vanguard says why poverty will remain with us. That's Dogua, who's the longest serving northern lawmakers. Now that's I don't know how to look at that. Why poverty will remain with us? Poverty and the North. In the last 25 years, the North has had, you know, at least about, you know, a dozen or more years, you know, in the leadership position. What have they done, you know, to reduce all these things? We shouldn't romanticize, you know, the idea of poverty as if, you know, it's something that we should be proud of. And last but not the least, 2027, Akwa Ibom adopts Tinubu Akpabio Eno as sole candidate.
This road
Isn't
to
that interesting?
2027 is going
road
to
to
be
2027,
something.
while we are still talking, you know, midway reports. But that's what politics is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. But I just want us to focus on governance for a little while longer.
You're right. Vimba, has been beautiful having you around.
I enjoyed spending my Saturday morning with you.
Lovely. Thank you. All right, then, that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayoride.